And we did this because we enjoy talking wrestling, but we do not agree on anything. Not a damn thing. So I had to go out and use our resources to bring somebody in who can help us. We need an official here. So we're bringing him in, legendary referee. Let's welcome to the show, Mike Chioda. Mike, welcome in.
What's happening, Nick? How you doing, Nikki? How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing great.
All right. Great, man. Ready to start this happy hour off.
Exactly. What is your drink of choice?
Old fashions lately, but more of a vodka. Really more of a vodka guy. So it's a good vodka, and I like some old fashions here and there. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So what's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
We're doing great. This is our, we kicking off the weekend. This is how we kick off our weekend here in northern New Jersey. And
nice.
Did I hear? I think you were prepping for this. Are you a Jersey native as well?
Originally? Yes, sir. Yeah, Nick, man. I'm born in Bayonne, New Jersey. So born in Bayonne, and we moved up. My parents moved out like in '74, so I was born in '66, and then we moved up to South Jersey in '74. But all my family still I just still got an uncle in Old Bridge and aunts and uncles in Ridgefield Park, Teaneck, Oakland, Morristown, and stuff like that. So, and we moved up to South Jersey. And God, moving from North Jersey to South Jersey was like moving out to the boonsticks. Before, right? It was like, Wawa was like miles down the road or something like that. But at least we had the Wawas. But growing up in South Jersey and Cherry Hill area and Mount Laurel and Willingboro area, so it was really nice growing up there. And I love some Jersey, man. That's for sure. Unfortunately, I reside in Tampa right now, so.
Well, you don't have to deal with that.
Right.
So you kind of touched on it. Want to hear a little bit? Tell everyone what you're up to. I know you. I met you about a year and a half.
Yeah, just doing seminars and just doing a lot of signings and stuff, conventions and everything. Just got back from St. Augustine this past weekend, so it was a nice little 3-hour drive. Me and my wife, we love to spend a couple extra days out there and just relax. And I had a signing on Saturday and Sunday. Went very well over in River City there, and just been doing a lot of I train referees in Orlando every 3 or 4 months. So we building a really nice class there, and people are flying in from all over the country, from international, coming from Canada, really getting that seminar class going. I give like a 6-hour seminar plus in-ring training. So I have a facility in Orlando, Florida, and we get about roughly 17 to 21 students every 3 or 4 months. So, and they come in from all over, man, new students, returning students, and a lot of fun training a lot of referees. Have about 5 women on my roster, 5 or 6, and they're phenomenal women, are really into what they're doing and they take it really serious on top of their full-time jobs, but they love refereeing. They want to make it into the leagues, and just a lot of really upcoming referees, that's for sure, on the indies.
Absolutely, and it's actually, obviously you can't not talk to you about referees, but I guess what do you feel like is the biggest trait that's kind of necessary? Because there's a lot of different people talking referees, like the role you play in the match. I guess what do you feel like is a key trait that's kind of
man? I mean, it's just you have to apply the rules as referees. You have to apply the rules. I mean, there has to be a 10 count applied. I mean, there's certain leeways when you have to give the wrestlers time on the outside, but you have to apply the rules. The 5 count, the 10 count. You got to make sure if the shoulders are down, you got to count to 3. I mean, if it's not the finish or if it is the finish, you got to be prepared for your bump as a referee. You got to give time cues in and out, like in and out of commercial breaks, coming back from commercial, 30 seconds. Hey, we got 2 minutes to go fucking home. We got to go home off the air. I mean, this is when now it's a little more easier because the WWE controls their time limits on these Netflix and all this other stuff, so it's, if they go over it, they go over it. It doesn't really matter anymore. So, but before on USA, man, when you were coming off USA, like if you went over like so many seconds or a minute or whatever, it was like $100,000 or $50,000 a minute, So that was very important as a referee to get those cues to the talent, so they can make it home and they always want to get the last shots of the wrestler holding up the title, pointing at the WrestleMania sign, the Money in the Bank or whatever it is coming up on the pay-per-views. Referees have to make sure these guys are they basically, we took CPR classes for quite a few years before I stopped in my career. We were taking them every 2 years. So I mean, we were getting trained there, doing CPR and everything, and checking on concussion protocol, which is huge. Years ago in the 80s and 90s when I started, and in 2000, it was like, oh, you got your bell rung, from a chair shot, or when you really were concussed. So I mean, a referee has so many things to do in a match. It's just it's amazing. I think a lot of fans do appreciate it because now they really know what a referee has to do. But when you live yourself as a referee and you're not getting all the star power, but you're working your ass off all the time, it's pretty cool, man. Because there's nobody else did what we do in the world. I mean, WWE is the best company in the world. What we did, entertained, that's for sure. Yeah, that was Rock and Cena.
yeah. It was not hard, like, to find good
right. That's
you
cool.
on Google. You've been in so many legendary matches. But before we get to that, Nikki, I know Nikki's got a bunch of questions he wants to ask.
Cool. Yeah. Got it. What's up, Nick?
We were just kind of talking about this, and then you talking about being a referee.
Yeah.
And Gunther just won the belt back after having Jay fall asleep. When did this become like a dead fish slap the hand? When I feel like he used to do, and like the iconic, like, I'm still alive. Like,
right.
The past couple dead fish things, I looked at Nick and I was like, that's not, I don't know what that is anymore.
Yeah, so you're talking about basically holding up the hand 3 times, the old school. Like, that was Vince and Michael Hayes and a bunch of guys, and they just kind of deleted that, because it was so old school, right? It was like one time, and then what I used to do is hold up, the arm 1, 2, and then and I'd squeeze it on the third one, and be like, "This is it, brother," because sometimes they forget, and sometimes they don't know.
Yeah.
And they're tired, blowing up. They're maybe, they're winded and all that other stuff. So I mean, like, you always talk to them and squeeze. But we canceled that out, and like it was just it was too old school for Vince and too old school for some of the guys anymore. So it was just kind of maybe just it's just a one raise really now, the one arm.
Is there like a middle? Because I feel like he just like a dead, like, I feel like there needs to be like an in between of like, not like old school, like,
yeah,
I'm coming back, brother, but
so,
like,
yeah,
he like slapped his hand twice and was like called for the thing.
Yeah, I know. See it. Like I would used to, like, if it was dead like that, I used to like feel the hand, and I'd move the arm, like, to see if there's any life, just to paint the picture that you know what I'm doing. Like, okay, the ref's checking on him, right? And then I'd move it around, and if it's limp and like dead to the world, I'd be like, okay, here it is, and I check it, and I hold it up tight one time, and if it, I mean, that's what they really want to go for, that one time, and if it's, I don't know, referees do it different though, so everybody does it different.
That's true.
You feel like there should be some more drama.
There should be something than like he was just like.
Right. No, I hear you. You're right. I mean, that's certain referees do it certain their way and their style. Like to me, it's like if it was a false finish, like you hold the hand up one time, and if he's gonna drop it or hold it and get it up, like I would like hold it up, it would drop, and I'd start to go to the bell table, and then, oh shit, I'd see it, and he'd bring it back up. So it was like I would almost try to create that as a false finish if it was, certain things like that. But all referees do it different. So sometimes I cringe, like, like, wow, why'd you do it like that? Or wow, don't oversell, don't over this, like, but so I don't know. Sometimes like referees get to sell like some really, like a punch or this, they punch, or a kick, or you see that all night long. You see 50 million punches, you see 50, sell the big stuff, sell the big stuff.
Like a ring, maybe?
You fly in a ring?
Yeah. That's it. But,
you want to talk about that a little bit? That was, again, such a core memory for me of you just like, Mike was here and then Mike was gone.
Right. I mean, and stuff like I would sell, like with Shane would come off the steel cage or, into the table, and I'd be like, whoa, and stuff like that. I mean, of course you always sell Undertaker stuff. So, I mean, as a referee, but, yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. A lot of refs do their things different. That's for sure.
Joe's in the chat. He wants to know what the training curriculum looks like for a referee.
Oh man, it's just learning how to count, learn all the rules and regulations, learn how to make count, like head to head or like on a 90-degree, like your countings are your cadence of your counts are very important. You make sure you count the shoulders and you're able to see both shoulders, both shoulders down to the mat. There's just a lot of things, and you got to just your cadence of your counts out of the corners, on your 10 counts. You got to develop a lot of stuff, and right now it's basically go to the PC center to start the referee there, and I'm training refs there too. But if you want to, make your way up, that's for sure. Like anything you do as a wrestler in WWE or referee, you're either going to the training facility there.
That's for sure. But gotta bring it back. This week we opened the show. Some of the big news, obviously, they're setting up a match for Night of Champions. So two superstars very, very, very well, John Cena and CM Punk. Just want to get your thoughts on what the expectation is. Obviously, John Cena's last run and this last year.
I would have liked to seen Cena turn heel like 7-8 years ago. Punk never stopped loving him. Loved John Cena too, man. Much respect for both of those gentlemen. Worked with them for many years. And I'd like to see how the finish is going to play out, how things are going to play out. But I don't know. I think Cena's on his last run. I think R-Truth, Ron Killings, has potential probably to be the top heel in the next few months if they keep it going strong with him. So I think Cena turning heel and all that, it was kind of like just everybody knew it. It was coming. WrestleMania and all that stuff. And so it was just like I wish he would have done it 70 years ago. Really shocked the people when he had the people by, But Cena, and believe me, the office is with him. WWE's behind him, TKO, and they put the power as a heel. But he's only like you said, I signed for 20-something weeks. Like I think that was already out before he won the title. It was like, why did that come out before he won the title at Mania? Should have been like, won the title, then, just to let you fans know, the WWE, I signed for another 28 more weeks, So, or I'm going to sign right now or something, I don't know, but it was just too predictable. That's
there was no
like last year, 2 years ago when you knew Cody wasn't going to win it, coming from, over there from AEW, and he didn't have a chance to go through the roster yet, Triple H's roster. So they made him wait a year. They gave it to Cody, and now Cena. I just thought Cody should stay with it. I mean, if Cena's going to be back for a while, let me enjoy this for quite a while, right? Because you have never seen him be a heel. But now you're only going to see him be a heel for 6 months, or 4 or 5 months, whatever it is. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I think R-Truth could be the top heel coming up soon. Be good.
Yeah. Nikki?
Well, that leads me into, because we made the joke that Nick and I disagree. So part of the thing is we love pro wrestling. That's our thing, but we disagree on everything. So it's like, we need a referee to come in and help us.
Right.
But the main thing we disagree on is, I guess, heels and faces. Nick is very much, I need a face and a heel. I need to know who to cheer and who to boo. I'm here to see just two guys beating the crap out of each other. So I want to get your take on heels versus faces, or heel and heel, or face and face, and kind of how you feel, or even us knowing those terms.
I think it's like heel baby face, definitely, competitive heel baby face. You're booing, you're cheering, it used to be so funny how Cena used to get always booed by the adults, and the kids were going, "Let's go Cena." The adults, right? Yeah. But then when Cena made his comeback, it started at the end, the whole crowd was popping, and it was the men were cheering then, and then but it's always good. I think it's always good to have a heel babyface competitive match, because and you're going to expect the heel to make some cheat move, and start to cheat somewhere into the match 5 minutes into it or 6 minutes into it, or he starts doing something nasty, or I think he'll Money in the Bank. I've always pitched a finish where And me and Pat Patterson used to always. I told Pat this finish. He loved it. You know, God bless his soul. When he was still alive, he'd go back and pitch his finish like, you know, yeah, man, like they're both like, say if Ziggler and this one was going up for the fucking, you know, Money in the Bank briefcase, and Ziggler grabs the briefcase and it opens up, and next thing you know, the opponent has the fucking contract. You know, one falls down with the contract, the other one falls down with the briefcase, and the briefcase ain't nothing with the contract's nothing without the briefcase. And then you turn around and like on Monday night on Raw, then you have a one-on-one. It could be heel against heel at that point. It could be baby against baby. But you have like a hell of a freaking 30, 45-minute match and go, you know, make it the best out of 3 falls. And then whoever wins the Money in the Bank briefcase and the contract. You know, just to stretch out that drama. And that's when you don't mind a heel against a heel when it's a very competitive, you know, match for something, you know, even a title match too as well. Yeah, that's for sure.
It's Mike. Lisa put in the chat. She wants you to be a writer for WWE. You need to get on the
yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, I pitched those like stuff like that, and it's just it never went nowhere, you know. So I was always wondering, are they going to use it down the road now that I'm gone? But
is that sort of what they did for the pandemic 2020? They were actually in Stanford when whoever, I forgot who it was, unclipped the briefcase, but Otis caught it. So then like Otis had it, but then dropped it to the
yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty cool though. That was funny. You know,
yeah, I secretly really love that Money in the Bank because it was just so, I don't just
theatrical.
Yeah, and just like you had like Doink coming up, and then like the Butler coming up, and like Stephanie, a terrible AI sort of green screen version of Stephanie.
Right. What would you think? I thought they were to start pushing LA Knight. Yeah, I mean, you know, you start pushing these guys at big pay-per-views like this, you know, and Seth Rollins. Don't get me wrong, cashing that Money in the Bank. You know, I've seen him do it before, and he could do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun thing that, you know, definitely to have you know, on Raw or SmackDown on certain, you know, like shows when you have that briefcase coming in at any point, anytime. So you know, I think Brock Lesnar is coming back in soon. I think there'll be some more things, you know, happening in WWE. So we'll see. Hopefully The Rock gets back into it at some point at SummerSlam or something, you know.
Mike, you talk about the cash-ins. We're talking about, you know, I have the image up. Did you know, was that like an on the fly call, or did you know ahead of time that match was?
We knew ahead of time. So I mean, it was, you know.
Because I heard it was like that day or like a day before. Not that it was like a long-term thing. I don't know if that.
Well, those big pay-per-views and WrestleManias, you really don't know the exact finish. Like I may have known the exact like what was going on in the Lesnar match because, you know, Roman Reigns against Lesnar there and stuff, and got my match together that week, you know, rehearsals and stuff. But you don't know some things until at least the day or the day before or the day of WrestleMania on certain things. Yeah, but Vince used to change his mind 50 million fucking times a day. It was just like, okay, you know, but so, you know, some things don't change. I mean, WrestleManias usually are pretty cut and dry, like finishes. And, you know, like the last WrestleMania, like with Cody's match, you know, like I felt bad for Cody because he had to sell for so long for Travis Scott coming in. He didn't make his entrance, and Chad Patton had to sell that bump out of the corner for like 6 minutes. I mean, to me, it just didn't show like he was going to get his at the end with Cena winning and everything. Why didn't he like come down with some meaning, you know, to that match, to that championship title match? But he came out to his entrance and just was getting his shit in. It was like, oh my God, it was so long. I felt bad for getting Cody grabbing the title, not hitting Cena. What? For the, you know, the title. Like, I was just like, and in Chad, I knew he was going to get pulled out. I was calling a bump coming up with Chad. I didn't know how they were going to take the bump, but he took the bump in the corner. Then I'm like, oh, Travis Scott's even got the, you know, Chad's a big dude, man, muscular and stuff. And I was like, man, it's going to be a pullout on the referee spot. And I'm just like, you didn't see it really because you didn't know if it was a shitty pullout. But yeah, I mean, just, and then some things. And then Chad was still on the outside when Cena was like, come on in and count. You know, like I thought Chad should have been in the ring at that point. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I think everything was like so predictable because I know I've been in the business for a while, but when I seen that first AA go down so early in the match, and I was like, oh man, all right, he's kicking, and now we're gonna start like, killing the finishes because and after you one AA, then another AA, then the holds, and then he gets out of the holds, and you knew a bump was coming to the referee, some screw jobs coming up. But yeah, it was good though. We'll see. We'll see in the future.
Mike, so we've talked about so many great matches. I used the internet to look up a little bit more and try and rank some of the more notable ones. So I'm curious in your opinion, because everyone usually asks when I say, like, what's your favorite match to be part of, but how would you, these are some of these that are ranked. How would you rank some of these in terms of your favorite to be part of and officiate?
Man, yeah, that's a pretty good list there, Nick. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good list, man. I mean, and you could probably add a couple more to that, like Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle, and
that's what I
yeah, actually in New Jersey, too.
I said King of the Ring, Kurt and Shane shit talking each other, just throw me through the thing. I'm like, you can take me because that's the route. Like Shane was just like, throw me.
Right. Oh, he was. He didn't give a shit. He wanted to go through that glass. And Kurt was putting him through that glass no matter what. And I was screaming because I'm getting a shitload from Vince in the IFB, and in the background he's like, "Fuck it, stop the match, no more fuck." He's cussing every 2 minutes. I thought, I was like, man, I didn't even know if I'd had a job when I went back there. And I know Shane and Vince traveled together that day, but they didn't travel together that night because Vince left them, But it's not like Shane didn't get another limo or service, But yeah, Shane got left. I know Vince was furious, man, just furious. And but that was one of the fantastic matches I've done in my career. I love Shane. Shane AJ Styles at WrestleMania, Shane and Undertaker and stuff like that. So I loved always working with Shane. He's phenomenal.
Any particular that stand? I guess there's so many. I try to.
Yeah, I mean, Rock and Hogan definitely icon against icon. The way they reacted to Hogan, coming back from WCW with the NWO with what he did over there. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold with the Enforcer. With Mike Tyson as the Enforcer. That was an amazing night. Brock Lesnar, big show with the ring collapse, and that was one time ever done. It was the best. Like you can never duplicate something like that. The first time the pop was just phenomenal. It was kind of delayed pop because everybody was like, "What the fuck?" And the next thing, holy shit! They just went nuts. Cena, Shawn Michaels, Cena, Rock. The Rock. Triple H, Vince, yeah. I mean, all these have a different for certain things. I mean, Brock Lesnar, you got to really put on Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle in Seattle. That was WrestleMania there too. I did.
Oh yeah.
So that's when Brock almost broke his neck and still muscled through the end of that match. And Kurt already came in with a broken neck or banged up. So yeah, I mean,
the infamous shooting star.
Yeah. So
I wanted that move to hit so bad.
Oh, I know. And Kurt was out so far, man. He was way out there, and it was like, holy shit, he's far out there. He was like definitely off center, And I thought Brock would still hit it. I mean, and you know what? Any other night he'd hit it, he would hit it. Like he just a couple inches.
And it's such a shame because they never because there's that one video online somewhere from years back from OVW of him doing it and hitting it on, I forget who it was, but he never got to do it ever again after that. It's such like a shame because now at his age, I mean, maybe who knows, maybe he can still pull it off, but anyone, I mean, if anyone could do it, probably, but still, why not do it in the front?
Right. Yeah, definitely. So. Yeah, but you guys going to WrestleCon in New Jersey? August 1st and 2nd. I'll be out there.
Oh, awesome.
Be out there WrestleCon there for high spots and stuff. So we got out the WrestleCon there. It'll be cool. August 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, Mike, I know you got a lot going on. I know you got the merch store. Let everyone know, what you got going on here. I know we got some.
Yeah, no, I'm action figures at figurecollections.com, man. My first they did the retroactive, and they're coming out with the black and white stripe one next. So that's pretty cool, with the MC patches and Chioda on the back, and they did a pretty cool job with this retro one, from like 1987. So it's when I started my career in 87, growing up with Gorilla Monsoon's family in 85, like 84. I started with WWE from 85 to 2020. So yeah, they did a great job with that one, and hopefully the next series is coming out. And yeah, my t-shirts are on prowrestlingtees.com. So like everybody else's pretty much, and that's it really.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, you kind of mentioned it. Living here. A regular on our show, Steven, wants to know, your neighbors with Gorilla Monsoon. What's your best memory of Gorilla?
Oh, he's just a fantastic guy, just a stand-up guy, and got me back in the business with Joey. Like I used to work with Joey in the ring crew in the 80s and stuff, and then I went, to machine shop for a couple years, and then like in 85, I asked him back for a job, and they got me back in with the WWF. So that was really nice of Gorilla, and he was just always a very stand-up guy and great people, man. Awesome person.
Yeah, I feel like Gorilla and Bobby are like honestly my favorite. Just listening to we when we go to bed, I just put on like old like pay-per-views or old stuff, and just hearing the two of them just like lulls me to sleep.
Yeah, I know they were the funniest. They were the funniest back in the day. They were great. I mean, they were great friends, and they were great guys, and they just fed off each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, and knowing them, and when you're watching the show, you're laughing yourself. So when you're laughing yourself and you're in the business,
Mm-hmm.
they're damn pretty good, And
Exactly.
they used to do all the skits, like Bobby would be back on the boat. He'd be on this boat, and Gorilla would go, they do all these backstage skits somewhere at some restaurant or some bar or somewhere.
I remember them in like a zoo.
Yeah, in a zoo, right?
The zoo. And it's like, why you stop that?
I know. I miss that stuff. They don't do that stuff too much anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they used to do Big Vis and stuff in the hotel rooms, when and all that shit, and he'd be chilling in the hotels, and like you never knew who'd come out of that bathroom door,
Like GTV.
yeah, like in a towel. So yeah, I miss those days, that backstage stuff.
And at different times, different production too.
Oh yeah.
Mike, we got some people on the phone lines that want to chime in and ask you a couple questions if you got some time here.
That sounds good. You got it.
We're gonna bring him in, regular on the show. Josh, welcome in, Josh.
How goes it, everybody? How are you doing, Mike? This is a true honor.
Yeah,
you have officiated my childhood, so
cool.
this is an amazing thing. Real quick, I want to get into the matches that you refereed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of your first big ones was Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 Kid in the Manhattan Center.
Yes.
Can you real quick explain from then to, let's go to the Rock and Hogan WrestleMania?
Right.
What was the biggest thing that helped you in your career learning wise from then to that moment?
Well, I'd have to say growing into the business, and I was so green, right? I mean, here I am 19 years, almost 19, starting in business 85, and then growing up Monsoon, and Joey was helping me throughout the business, but I was doing a lot of ring crew stuff too, and Joey, I'd see him at a lot of the shows, and then they, Gorilla and Chief J Strombo wanted to make, a referee in 87. I got the opportunity to work with a bunch of guys, man, like Paul Roma, Demolition, Powers and Glory, like Paul Roma and Hercules, and the British Bulldogs, the Rougeau brothers, and got to do so many of their matches throughout the nights, because we used to do these tours. I mean, literally be on the road like 20-something days a month, because we were working every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then taping on Tuesdays, and then come home on Wednesdays and leave fucking on Fridays. So, but I mean, unfortunately, my growing in an experience with Hogan as well, and The Rock coming into the business. You know, I remember he came into business with these little Jerry curls and some like, you know, and he was like, I'm Rocky. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And to see him transform into The Rock, you know,
Yeah.
and to be the most electrifying and one of the best promo cutters ever in the business. And he still is, right? You know, I mean,
Oh yeah.
shit, Cody. I mean, Cody was having a hard time even going back and forth with The Rock, right? Like a couple years ago, in the, you know, last year or so. Rock's the best at that, and seeing him the way he achieved and what's he achieved and everything at that time before, I mean, even Hollywood happened for him. And then Hogan, it was just, it's all the old school, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jake the Snake, Rick Rude, um, Hillbilly Jim, to like work with all these guys. They always told you how they wanted you to work their match, like The Undertaker and fucking all these other guys, that Bret Hart. I mean, God, you know, and then Ric Flair. And so at that time, I was 17 years in the business in that, you know, 2002 WrestleMania 18 Sky Dome. And man, I marked out. I fucking marked out.
I
Like,
bet.
it was like, I mean, I was sitting there going, what the fuck? Like, look at the reaction. We're not even fucking doing nothing. This is the stare down.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to stand off to the side at that point. So I didn't want to be in the middle of their fucking, you know, because they're not touching each other. They're not, you know, pushing each other. So there's no reason for me to be right up in there. Right. So, man, I'm fucking marking. I mean, I got goosebumps from the crowd. It was just 68,000 people. And yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. It was one of the, I mean, 17 years in business and I'm marking out, you know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and you should mark out, because that's two
right.
icons versus two icons. You know, that's
Mhm.
two generations, the heroes of their generations meeting, and then
Yeah.
you played it so perfectly in those moments. Like you were saying, you were taking yourself out of the frame, so you weren't all the way in there. But
Oh, I
the
wanted to
fact
get in there, believe me, though.
Oh yeah, I would have
I
too.
wanted to get in there.
But the fact that even the authority figure of the match was
Yeah,
like kind of lost in the moment is such a meaningful thing in my
yeah,
childhood.
that's cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that shirt right back there is from the Rock and Hogan match, and you know, I never really like got a lot of autographs. I did somewhat from Razor on my poster, Bret Hart, Benoit, a bunch of people, you know, like, and I did have them sign that shirt, man. So it's a pretty cool shirt. I've always kept it up there from then, and you know,
That's awesome.
actually, there's some all like we made the front page of like every paper in Canada, you know.
Yeah.
So it was
Oh,
I was stealing everybody's front like pages, like all their papers, like because back then he used to put them out the front door, you know, of your door of your hotel. I was fucking stealing them all, man. I was like,
That's
hope I'll
awesome.
take this one. Hope I'll take another one. So yeah, I was still marking out the next morning. Fuck, I'm sorry. Yeah.
If I can ask one quick question, and then I'll be
go ahead.
done, Nick and
It's
Nikki.
all good. Yeah.
Josh.
Okay, so you refereed Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, and you also refereed Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah, that match. Fuck,
From a
yeah.
referee's point of view,
Yep.
and a fan's point of view, but being the closest fan of all, who hits harder out of those four guys?
Benoit, Kurt Angle.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Benoit.
I love that you said Benoit.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you know, yeah, he definitely. I mean, there's times when working Kurt Angle and Benoit matches and working it, I blew up maybe 5, 6, 7 fucking times and I had to catch my wind and get back and just catch my wind because it would blow, because I had to pull them apart so tight, like him and Eddie. That's the way they wanted to be too.
Yeah,
Eddie was a tough cookie too, man, and every one of them guys can grapple, like Benoit, Kurt, Eddie, and you know. So I mean, yeah, like that Benoit and Eddie match was one of my favorite matches in a certain way. You know, like, you know, the Rock and Hogan was icon against icon. It was just the push off, the shove off, the fucking the crowd when the fucking, it sounded like 100,000 people. And it was like 68,000 people, right?
Wow.
But I remember Benoit doing a job for Kurt Angle that day, and he came up to the stage, and the fucking place was sold out, and they went through this battle for like 35 minutes, and I was fucking, my whole gear was drenched, sweating. I blew up 5 or 6 times, man. And I remember they gave Benoit like a fucking standing ovation, you know. So But matches like that, like even doing those kind of matches, man, it was at least I was the third man in the ring to be a part of the matches, which I appreciate, and do my job. I mean, imagine if I would have fucked up some of the matches. I mean, I go down in history like it's, here's all Mike Chioda's fuck ups, like
Yeah.
bleed.
This would be a totally different conversation if that
Yeah,
was
when the talent's happy, man, and I'm happy, and I did my job as the best I could, and it's like even like the Rock and Hogan, I had to take a bump, and I had to slide in the ring right at a certain point when Rock was coming off the other side of the ropes, and timing was everything. So if I'm not there in that timing and I don't get the shoulder tackle where Rock takes me out in that match, like it just looks horrible, right? It fucks up the whole match, So there's so many things that a referee has to do, and it's just timing and everything. So
yeah, that's usually
you picked out some damn good matches, that's for sure, brother.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I am a fan of this stuff. Nick's a fan of this. Nikki is. We're we're the nerds of wrestling. We just love this stuff. I do exactly what Nick and Nikki do. For a whole different thing. So I just want to say, lastly, thank you for just being you, being in those moments, being in those matches, and making sure the matches happened. If you got bonuses for taking bumps, I'm so happy that you did.
Thank you. I did sometimes.
Took some bumps, man. You took some bumps.
Yeah. The Rock in Austin, I got a nice $2,500 paycheck for taking nice. So I took like a chair shot the first 5 or 10 minutes of the match. And then, I was ready to get juiced. And like, I remember Stone Cold going, hey, he's like, kid, Kyle, you got to put your hands up. I said, nah, fuck it. It's Philadelphia. It's WrestleMania. I hate that. Like you put your hands up and it's coming and you put your hands up. It just looks like shit. So
just let it happen.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I rang my bell for 3 days. I did.
Dude, that makes me even a bigger fan of you. Just hearing you say that, man. I appreciate you so much and thank you for your time.
Well, thanks for the kind words, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Josh.
Love you, Josh.
Oh, Josh. Well done. We got another one quickly becoming a regular. He's also a podcaster. He's from a friend. He's a friend of ours from overseas in Scotland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him in, Reese.
Hey, Reese.
Welcome in, Reese.
That's
Josh. Wrong one. That's Reese.
Reese.
There he is.
Reese, we're 20 today.
Oh, we are. Hello.
What's up, Reese? How you doing?
Oh, good, Mike. Actually, I think funnily enough, are you on Twitch by any chance?
All right, cool. How you doing, mate? Been all right?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well.
Good.
This is a pleasure.
Cool.
I actually have an interesting question for you, Mike. I don't know if anyone's going to ask you this one. I've got so many, but that's a whole different time. But have you got any good Tim White stories?
Yeah, ton of give Tim White stories, but the best was going to his bar, man, all the time. So and like I go back as in the mid '80s, like Tim White used to like drive around Andre, So
yeah.
That was amazing. That was amazing to me because them guys used to drink like 2 cases of beer, wine and vodka in the van. Tim White was a great guy, man. That's all. I mean, we used to have so much fun at his bar. He owned a bar in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was a real cool place to go and hang out. And we just let loose after the shows. And he let us drink till 2, 3 in the morning, whenever how late we wanted to stay. And things got wild in the bars too. So, I mean, but Timmy's like a really, really good guy, man. He did everything in the business. He did taking care of Andre, to being an agent, to refereeing, to doing so much and being a promoter for certain things and other office before he passed away. So I miss some Timmy White.
I wanted to bring him up because when I look at like the people overuse the terms like Mount Rushmore and the greatest and all that absolute bullshit. But like when I look on like who's actually the general greats of like refereeing, I look at like yourself, Earl Hebner.
I appreciate it.
Dave, I don't know. People don't remember Saturday Night's Main Event that much. I'm just kidding. I would, and obviously I would say Tim White right up there in terms of like the absolute greatest referees. But like when I look at like who actually calls a match better, this might sound controversial. I think Earl Hebner stands out, but I think you or Tim White actually have a better dynamic of a match call.
I appreciate it.
Which is obviously different surgery. I don't have surgery. We've ever had surgery.
Yeah, we definitely all have different styles and stuff like that, and the way we call matches and stuff. Like to me, it's like I always did the 2 count because everybody was going like 2, 2, and I'm like, I always wanted to do that. So I did that. And then I just wanted to be different a little bit. There's my counts, my false finish to the counts were a lot different than a lot of people. The way I would do certain things, and I would protect myself because I knew how to protect myself, because over the years you learn from a lot of old school wrestlers and a lot of just you get bit once and and then twice you're shy on getting burned in the ring again. So you learn how to protect. You have to learn how to protect yourself as a referee in the ring too, as well, when shit's gonna hit the fan or something's happening behind your back. So, but it's definitely a lot to learn with refereeing and stuff. And my number one guy in the book is Joey Morella, because Joey's done some incredible matches. Before his life got cut short. And his career was short. So, but he did do the Andre and Hogan match. He did the Bulldog and Bret the Hitman Hart match in '92 in Wembley Stadium in London. That was my first big.
Another great event. I can't remember his name. It wasn't WWE. He was more like NWA, WCW. But it was the referee who called Steamboat versus Flair at Wrestle War.
Right.
I thought he was an excellent referee. But I have one last question.
Oh, Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick
is well. He was a great referee.
With all those angles. Yeah, there was
Before he
NWO referee.
Yep, sure was.
I do have one last question before I go, and I've dropped so many in the chat, but I'm going to choose one particular that I did actually ask. Do you feel that the art of refereeing is slightly lost or diminished in 2025?
Yeah, a little bit. It sure has, man. I don't know. It's some referees and some outfits can use a little bit more training. Could definitely use some more training and stuff. And I know, I think it's more or less. See, I think it was better for me because we had so many house shows to do. We were on the road 20-something days. We had house shows every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And sometimes we had 2 shows on a Saturday, 2 shows on a Sunday, double shots. So the more the matches I did, the more I learned quicker. And, there was no PC school back then for us. You learn just on the road, and a lot of old school talent taught you. But I feel like it's dwindled a little bit. It's you go to the PC. I don't know if they're training the referees as well as they're training the talent. I mean, they want to get the talent up to NXT and then NXT to WWE to SmackDown, Raw. But when I see some of these referees coming up from NXT and they've been there for quite a bit, and I'm going, what the fuck? Like,
it always seems like the same faces. I don't mean to cut you off there. Sorry, it's always the same faces. It's not something new.
No, yeah, I got you there too. I mean, but you're going to put Chad Patton in certain matches. You're going to put like Charles Robinson in certain matches, and certain guys in certain matches.
I
would if I was a great referee, right? Exactly, Charles and Chad. And so I mean, but the thing is, sometimes you just wonder, like, who's training these guys, or like, and see some of these referees are going into business for themselves, making trying to look like a fancy dance in there instead of being a referee calling it right down the middle.
There's actually one of the things, and I recently got to let you drop here. There's one of the things, we were talking about earlier, is it's like being part of it versus taking away from
like
the whole.
Are you kind of the third of the day? Because again, there's so many refs I feel like I like, and then I feel like there's so many that are like, are you trying to like insert yourself as the third? Like, are you Seth Rollins cashing in and trying to be involved in this?
Yeah, I mean, like with Seth Rollins cashing in, like, unfortunately, they could have had a referee bump and they could have sent another referee down. But, sometimes I come running down from the stage and unfortunately I finished this match. It's just, it's phenomenal. Like, sometimes like, oh shit, am I going to take a bump, today, and then get knocked out and somebody else finishes the match and takes all the glory and shit. But, so, and, unfortunately, with these matches with cash, and one of my favorite top 3, Seth Rollins is definitely my top here, but I'll tell you, right next to him is that Carmella cash in. I love that, man. She was, they said fuck with her if you want, like, and just tease her, like, and she started panicking a little bit, I think, there, and she was like, what the fuck?
You teased her so much that she tried to question. You're like, what? What is it?
And then, yeah, so like teaser.
You were just like, I don't know.
Yeah, Michael Hayes. I mean, like, oh, it's fucking great. Yeah, milk it. You know, teaser some more. Chioda, do what you want to do. And I, all right. So then I stepped over to the rope stack like I was gonna. And I came back to her and I went, "Are you sure?" And she was, my eardrums were like, they were like piercing, man, because she was so loud. And I was like thinking, she's probably thinking I'm fucking up this match or something. I'm gonna fuck up the finish. But yeah, that was one of my favorites, man. She's a sweetheart. I like her, man. She's a good girl.
Nice little rib.
Oh, it made me so angry. I was like, she can't. My girl.
You know, because those things are supposed to happen quick because you don't want anybody to get up, you know, from selling, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like they're like, you know, keep fucking with her, keep teasing her, and I'm like, all right, and did that. She's like, what the, like, are you fucking my shit up here? Like, that was a trip. I really enjoyed that one.
Mike, you got two more callers on the line. If it's all right with you, you got some.
All right,
time.
yeah, you got it. We
got a friend of the show. He's our friend from California. Bring him in, Mikey.
Well, hello everyone.
Hopefully all right.
This time.
What's up, Mikey?
Hi. So I'm gonna keep this very brief. I know there's a lot more people, so I don't want to take any time. I know earlier you had mentioned about, well, the conversation being that now it seems that referees have kind of become a secondary or even a third party into the actual matches themselves, where now we find them being characters of their own, so to speak, especially in this modern era of wrestling. So I guess this is a two-part question. So for you, Mike, how do you feel about referees being treated more like characters or caricatures in today's product? And do you think it enhances or distracts from matches that are being reffed?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Sometimes I feel like they are like some spots where I think if referee can do backstage stuff, it wouldn't be it's not a big deal for a referee. I would more like to see like an interview type style after a match, like, hey Charles, like, what'd you think of this match, man? It went 38 minutes, and there was a battle going on there, and like, what were your thoughts when you were going into this, and what happened when you had to take that bump? How were you feeling? I want like a real interview like that. I would like to see a real interview sometimes. They interview the wrestlers backstage after a match. They'll interview them before, sometimes interview the referee, make it a serious thing. My thing is like sometimes there's stipulations to the match, like the referee has to abide by. They have different types of matches, right? So I mean, it's just, you could talk about that. I remember they had me do an interview back. It was after, I believe, Daniel Bryan Brock Lesnar match in Staples Arena. I don't know if you guys remember that some years ago.
I think
phenomenal match. Phenomenal.
In my wormhole of research, that is the Google.
One of my favorite. That's one of my top 10 matches too. I'll tell you, because so I came back and they said, "Chioda, we want to interview you." I said, "Interview me for what?" Like social media. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. Like, am I gonna make any money off of this? I'm just like, whatever. So I did a shoot interview. I think it was like maybe like a minute long, or a minute something long, and it got like over 1 million views overnight because nobody ever hears the referee talk, and so they wanted to continue to, but they just, I guess they didn't do it, but they wanted to do this stuff with the referee and they didn't do it. So, but yeah, I mean, I think, referees, if they just, I like to see referees just call it down the middle, definitely enforce the rules and regulations and stuff. I just don't want to see a referee just there to count to 3. Like you see him running all over the place, these tag teams in certain companies and stuff like that. And you see sometimes the referee looks lost and it's like, oh my God, sometimes they don't know how to protect themselves. So and you got to say, like, AEW refs, like some of them refs have been around for a while doing indies and stuff like that. And they're only so many years old, but it takes quite a while for a referee to really perfect his skill in the ring. That's for sure.
Well put. Oh, sorry, Mike. I mean, the up there just got trying to get this.
He's like, cut. Thanks, Mikey, for the question, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When we do the one-stop shop here in North Jersey, we have to edit, produce, direct, and I only have one other talent on the show, and to get her to show up for any production meetings.
It's an infamous topic. I don't know.
The Axel
like
Rose.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least like the Axel Rose. Axel won't show up till like.
Where are you guys at, New Jersey?
So we're based near Bridgewater in Somerset County.
Okay. Cool.
But Nikki and I are both on varying
But
parts.
we're very different sides of the tracks of New Jersey. He's north. I'm like mid Woodbridge.
Oh, okay.
It's not. There's a Central Jersey. I know that's a myth, and there's not a Central Jersey. There's very much Central Jersey.
No doubt. There's Central. My sister lives in Central. I call it like she lives in Allentown, New Jersey, over in Cream Ridge area.
Yeah.
Allentown. Yeah. So
To
she used to live in
everyone outside of
Woodbridge
New
too.
Jersey,
She used to live in Woodbridge too. She used to years ago.
Born and raised Woodbridge.
It's so frustrating that everyone outside of New Jersey doesn't admit this. They're like, oh, there's just they just divided up. It's like this whole big thing, and then anyone outside of New Jersey,
No, I was raised that there's a Central. You're in Central Jersey.
There is a Central. I think there is. There's a South, Central. There's a North.
Because it's a north, middle, south. There's very different vibes. Like you think going from Bayonne to south, like very different vibes.
Yes, no doubt.
Like us standing like me central, him north. I was like, we're not the same.
That's what I love about New Jersey.
We're not the same.
It's literally Jersey and kind of to your point like Cherry Hill, right? Like Cherry Hill versus like Morristown.
Mm-hmm.
Polar like you could get the wood and the backwoods like area like down in South Jersey. You could also get like a city vibe from like the Morristown area,
right?
Like,
and you get a country vibe right around the corner everywhere because we have a Morristown, Moores, right next to Cherry Hill.
Yep.
That's a beautiful area, country area there, right there. And there's so much country like farmland in South Jersey, but you can't get that in Mount Laurel and Cherry Hill. Get that kind of little city vibe. And then 15 minutes over the bridge, you're right in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. Make that mistake, Morristown from outside.
I get that.
Yes, you're gonna be really
You don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
So from one person who also is from Central Jersey, we're gonna bring him in around at our viewer callers here.
You got it. All right.
Ed.
Oh, hey, what's up? Making sure I unmuted myself this time. Don't yell at me.
What's happening, Ed?
How's it going?
All right, good.
So listen, I had a couple of questions on deck, but you mentioned AEW and the refs that are there.
Right.
So my question is going to be, have you seen the Bryce Remsburg reffing the Invisible Man match? And if you have, what did you think?
The Invisible? No, I did not see that.
Oh, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's about 12 minutes of just complete referee work of him refereeing a match between the Invisible Man and his brother, Invisible Stan.
Really? I'm about to Google it. I'll check it out.
I'll see if I can find a link and drop in the chat.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I want to say it's from a GCW show from like a year or two ago. He ends up putting on like invisible glasses, like the X-ray specs, so we can see them both. But having all the fans completely buy in is just
I like I remember Pat Patterson told me he had a match. They tore the house down without a referee.
Oh wow.
It was like God knows when the 60s, 70s or something like that, and I was like, no shit. He was like, yeah. He goes, I was the only one to have a match without a referee. And we had to, got over on a certain finish or something. And I was like, wow, no shit. And I always said, like, when they always crack on the fucking referee, the boys would get shitty with certain referees. I'd be like, well, try and have your fucking match without a referee then. Like, let's see how far that goes.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty, I like to see that though. I would.
Let's see if I find the link. I'll drop it in the chat. I
right,
guess real quick then. If there's anybody that you could pick currently working now, who are I guess a better way to put this is is there a current wrestler in any company that you feel like is not getting a fair shake, like isn't really getting their due?
Yeah, I mean, I thought LA Knight would get his due. You know, I really did, man. I thought that, you know, you want to push somebody, you push him in Money in the Bank. I mean, yeah, can they push him maybe SummerSlam but I mean, Money in the Bank is when you're really pushing him now. Seth Rollins has cashed it in before. So, I mean, yeah, will it be exciting? Maybe. But I think Seth Rollins is a fucking phenomenal worker and he's already established, right? Does he really need Money in the Bank? You know, like to win another championship or, you know? But maybe, you know, he's done it once before off, you know, the cash in, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Maybe they'll bring more excitement, you know, to the live shows. So we'll see in the pay-per-views. So I don't know. I think LA Knight, I think one guy, I think Ron Killings, R-Truth I didn't feel Cena being the heel coming back, knowing that he's already going to, you know, come around for a certain amount of time. I thought that time was probably 7 or 8 years ago when Cena should have turned heel. You know, and there was a lot of question. Like, I know they were talking about Cena turning heel, and he didn't want to. Vince didn't want to because they would lose all that money off the merch, and he's doing all this charity stuff and all this other stuff as a babyface. So, you know, his merch would go down, and he was killing the merch. And that's all you would see is Cena's merch up there every night, not anybody else's but Cena's. But I think if they let R-Truth, Ronnie, do what he's doing right now, man, he could be top heel in the next couple months. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was saying that too. I've been saying that for years. Like his NWA TNA run as NWA champion, absolutely fantastic. And like finally seeing him get to do that on the big stage is like, as a fan,
yeah,
like I'm over the moon.
I mean, do you think they're giving Gunther a really good shot right now?
That's a good question. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, like I feel like they're building him up to kind of pass the torch from Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
But he's a guy that you could. But Gunther's a guy that you could just have around forever, just looming in the background. That like he doesn't necessarily need a prop like a Money in the Bank or like, you know, the World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
That guy can just show up and, you know, pack and smoke whoever. But I don't like. I think what they're doing now with him is a good spot. I don't know what else you could have done with Jey Uso right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see him I'd like to see Jim Cornette maybe coming in, be his manager or something like that. You know, I mean, be his voice. You know, because you need a Paulie with Brock, right? So I mean, if you could put a Cornette with him, I think he can go a little bit further, man. You know, and get a little more steam there or something like that.
Do you feel like Gunther's I feel like he's a way better talker than Brock was.
No, yeah, I mean, you know, he is. He's a pretty good talker, but I feel like if you just have him mean mug and talk at times, you know, But, you know, remember, Paulie used to take over 99% of those, you know, those promos with Brock. That's for sure. But yeah, I feel like some guys, I mean, you give it to Naomi too, you know, the Money in the Bank. She's been around for what, a decade maybe or something like that.
She's been around a long time.
I mean, I thought they would maybe build somebody else up. You know, I really did in that match. But you know, they're giving another push to Naomi, which is cool. But to me, they're not really building new talent. You know, I don't know. So we'll see down the road.
No,
I mean, when you got to bring Cena back, you know, you're not building new talent.
No, yeah, no, I agree with you there. I mean, listen, as someone that's been watching, you know, wrestling since like '95, I'm glad he's getting a farewell tour because like that doesn't happen, right?
No, true, right.
But I agree with you. If he was going to be on his way out, it probably should have been 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. You know, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see a farewell tour too. That's awesome. You know, anybody would love to get that farewell tour. And you know, but I'd like to see him go out as a babyface, you know, just like he was for all these years. You know, and he held down the company for many years. You know, that's why I felt bad. Like, kind of did feel bad from when Rock came in, and you know, like, yo, you got Rock and want you as a match, you and Cena. You got Cena and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, the first time they faced off, and when they said Rock's going over, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, all right, you know,
once in a lifetime, and then twice in a lifetime.
You know, Cena's holding the fort down for many years on the road, and Rock comes back from Hollywood. But then Cena gets it back next year, you know. So
twice in a lifetime, right?
Yeah. You know, there was a receipt.
Exactly.
No more.
Yeah.
And
But I
Like,
mean, what do you think? You know,
Sure.
like, I mean, like, you know, with my big conversations, and I've been hearing a lot of things about, like, I'm going to WrestleCon in Jersey there, you know, 1st and 2nd of August, Friday and Saturday, and you know, I'm talking to a lot of fans, and you know, WrestleCon in Vegas and other places, and I was talking to fans in February in Manchester, England, when I was there doing a signing and some stuff, and over in London, uh, you know, they were saying that they're not able to come over anymore because the tickets are so expensive.
yeah,
And their WWE and TKO is not, they're not really providing the priceable tickets like they do to fans now. I mean, like, I think it's the SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They said the WrestleMania tickets were through the roof. They couldn't even afford both shows. And then there's like a 40,000 for front row seats at SummerSlam. I think $40,000
we
like
had
package, right? 35,000. And last year was $1,400 a front row seat, but now it's, you know,
it's insane. We had someone, a friend of ours from Ireland, actually, that went from Ireland to Vegas for WrestleMania this year. He's like, "This is the last any wrestling event I'm going to for the next 10, probably 20 years."
and they're going back to Vegas. And they're
Yeah.
going back to Vegas. And I mean, like, and I do understand what they're saying, because I went down, I was staying at the Link, and I went down the signing like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, early in the morning. And then so I go down real quick, and I'm like, fuck, let me get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm like, I like Starbucks, the extra shots and all that stuff, right? So I got a medium coffee, and let me get a sauce, egg, and cheese sandwich on a everything bagel. Toasted, please, right? Da, da, da. She was like, okay, yeah. She was like, oh, that's like 25 something, 25 and change. I was like, oh no, ma'am. I was like, I just ordered one coffee and one sandwich. And she's like, yeah, that is. She's like, your sandwich was like $17 and your coffee was 7 something plus tax. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, for one coffee or one bagel and egg. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
Forget it.
Just give it. No, I got it. Because I was starving. I needed a coffee on the way. There's no other place to stop, you know. And I'm like, fuck. But I was like, holy shit. I mean, and when fans would tell me that it's so expensive for food and other things, and I mean, it was like my wife wanted an orange juice in the morning, so she stopped. She paid $9 at the store downstairs for an orange juice, a small one. I was like, are you serious? Like, I don't know why they got to charge so much like that, but you know, I can understand the fans, you know, when they're saying, and they're paying in euros. And the people in England are paying in pounds, so their money's stronger than ours a little bit, you know. So it goes a little further when you turn it into American. But,
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I know. It's everything's got to try and find a way to do it on a budget, but it's tough. It's tough, man. It's everything's tough.
yeah, I mean, 2 shows for SummerSlam. So if you want to watch one of your talents on Saturday and your other talent's not on until Sunday, so you had to go to both shows, or I mean, you're spending buku amounts of money. Before it was one SummerSlam show, right?
Yeah.
And you'd watch the pay-per-view or one night, or you'd watch this, or you go see one show.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. A lot easier, a lot less to digest too. Mike, you kind of touched on it. I'm gonna let Nikki.
That's my favorite question. You touched on it. So
Yeah,
breakfast is my favorite meal, eggs all day. You
Right.
are our Jersey guy. So usually if you're Jersey, I ask pork roll or Taylor ham.
I
If
like
not,
pork.
then tell me your favorite breakfast food, because breakfast is my life. But please
I grew up pork roll and cheese.
Yeah,
On a Kaiser.
Come on.
Yeah, pork roll and cheese and egg sandwich. Pork roll and egg and
You were
cheese, man.
in the North Jersey area?
Yeah, definitely, man.
To me,
even
North
South
Jersey is
Jersey.
Taylor ham. Like, that's why I thought for sure I was gonna put money that you were gonna say Taylor ham.
I mean, we used to stop at these delis, like these bakeries and stuff in Bayonne on Avenue C and stuff, and like my grandfather. I mean, yeah, I used to get like the pork roll and cheese and like you know, he's always getting all the Jewish rye breads and all this other stuff, and he'd get like the bagels and Italian bread, and we were like, he'd get, oh my god. I mean, yeah, I mean, those are the days in the 70s. I remember my grandfather would have pig's tongue on the table, and you just slice the freaking pig's tongue and eat it. Squingio Galamad and all the Polish and Italian food.
Sunday dinner. Oh, I have to. So my last name's Theodore. I'm obviously Italian. My wife is Irish. I have to explain to her
Right.
She's like,
the
she's like,
language.
say this calamari. And I'm like, how dare you? How dare you?
I know my wife. I remember she's from Texas, and Meredith goes, like years ago. I go, oh, let's get some mozzarella on it. She goes, mozzarella. She goes, what's that? I'm like, mozzarella, like mozzarella, like She goes, oh, you don't say it like that. I'm like, Meredith, I'm half Italian, right? And I'm Polish Lithuanian. But my real name is not even Chioda. It was like back in the day. Well, it is Chioda. Like had a name change, but my real name is Canzano for many years. Canzano. So my father used to. My paternal father used to. My mom got divorced when I was 2 to Canzano, and he used to be in the Duprees as Joey Canzano, like the lead singer, Joey Van in the Duprees in the '60s. Real popular in North Jersey. Real popular. So. He's saying you belong to me, take me as I am. Have you heard? All these, almost some big hits back in the early '60s. So yeah, like my name was Canzano. So it's definitely Chioda. We changed. I remember my grandmother changing it. It used to be Chiodo. When I took my dad's name over when I was like 13, and they changed it to Chioda, like with an A at the end, because O's more masculine and an A is feminine. So. Yeah, it was just it was like, damn. All right, well, I guess it's Chioda now. It's like I kind of like Chioda better than Kyoto, but yeah.
Well, Mike, this has been a blast.
Amazing.
Yeah, you got it. Any other questions? Any other?
No. Before we let you go, we want to let everyone know where they can find you. I know you got a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram and stuff at Mike.Chioda, and on Twitter and stuff at Mike Chioda MJC Chioda CHIODA. That's it, man. So you can find me, for bookings on my email and stuff like that on Twitter and Instagram. And come check out my school in Orlando. Any referees want to be a referee or a wrestler? I train wrestlers too. So, and looking forward to see all the Jersey people, man, coming out on August 1st and 2nd, WrestleCon there. So for SummerSlam, it'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Mike, a pleasure.
It's been amazing.
Thanks for joining us and sharing your stories.
You got it. Anytime, man. Sorry we couldn't fit all the 35 years in like an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere.
Here for like
that's like an 8-hour show. That's an AEW 4+.
an hour pay-per-view.
Gotcha. Well, guys, thanks for having me on, man. I'll see you down the road somewhere.
For
Good
sure.
Luck to your podcast and everything.
Thanks for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Chioda. Oh,
Jesus.
Well, that's the problem when I have to edit and do and things. You need to get a producer. Once Brianna gets old enough to,
I know Brianna's gonna be our
master this whole
producer
thing,
in like a year.
then I'll have to negotiate with her.